Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Assemble. My name is High Ruler, and obviously if you guys are watching this video, you're wondering where's the intro. Well, maybe you're not, but if you are wondering where's the intro, I'm actually looking for a new intro or new music to go alongside the video. So for anyone who does any of that, just let me know in the comments below. I'll read it, I'll contact you, and we can go from there. Or you can go to my Twitter in the email, just write me an email, right? Today's video though, guys, is talking about Square Enix Presents and what are my thoughts and predictions. This is for Marvel's Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. Those two games that are ideally being presented. Well, one of them for sure is. The other is heavily rumored. So let's get into the Avengers stuff first and foremost. Well, on the Twitter account, when they posted it, it says, tune in to Square Enix Presents at E3 2021 for a glimpse at upcoming events and Marvel's Avengers expansion Black Panther War for Wakanda. Now, I know a lot of people are probably hoping for a very heavy kind of informational section on War for Wakanda. Truthfully, here's what I think is going to happen when they kind of get up to the point of Marvel's Avengers. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a section on the Cosmic Cube, because I don't think we're going to get the Cosmic Cube until after the presentation, whether that's a stealth drop alongside it on the 13th or whether that's the week of. I personally think it's going to be the week of that we're going to get the Cosmic Cube. They're also going to do a presentation for OLTs. I definitely think OLTs are going to get some love in this presentation. And then Patrol Mode as well is definitely going to get some sort of love as well. These are the things that are, immediately coming up with the game. And then afterwards, I think we're going to get, a little bit of information when it comes to War for Wakanda. Now, personally, what I'm hoping for when it comes to the Wakanda stuff is I think we need to know how many heroes we're going to get, right? If you all remember Thor, mentioned, multiple heroes, right?
Coming out over the summer, and then Wakanda will have quite a lot of it. And
yeah,
getting more things to fight in new areas with new heroes.
Is that Spider-Man? I don't necessarily think that's Spider-Man, but I definitely think it's more than one, just whichever one is coming. We definitely need to know the features that are coming with War for Wakanda, right? The quality of life features that everyone's been waiting for, right? I know there's a laundry list of things that you go down with the game right now, and you go, where, they took this away, where is this? Are any of those features coming back, similarly to the cosmetic vendor, so on and so forth? What is happening with Gear 2.0? I know there's been a lot of kind of conversation and confusion around what is happening with Gear 2.0. They said that it's not going to be one big patch. It's going to be, coming out in increments. Should we expect like the final increment with War for Wakanda? Should we expect stuff beforehand? What is kind of the development of that? Where is that going from? And then just kind of like what should we expect from the story? Multiple villains. Which villains are showing up? Any mention of a raid during that? Based on Miller's kind of data mining, we know that they were working on a raid, right? So what can we expect for the raid from War for Wakanda, right? I think they got to hit a lot of the beats here, because I think what they're going to get is they'll probably get a lot of love, right? The first kind of reveal of Black Panther got a lot of love. So I think they need to follow that up on not just kind of milking, the look of the character, the voice of the character, right? The voice actor, people think it's Christopher Judge, but they need to give information on what players can expect the day of, and not just technically the day of, but like, what's coming afterwards, right? And I don't mean like another roadmap or so on and so forth, but just kind of like, is there anything that's going to kind of make the chase longer, make the game go longer than just like that first few days, right? There's got to be things that are, being planned for like that launch, right? The problem is, and I'm not going to try and be overly negative in this video, is that I hope there's thought process in place to kind of like, how do we keep players engaged after that first day, right? And if there is that thought process in place, then I hope they take time and like, evaluate that and show it. I definitely think we'll be getting stuff alongside it, and not just like the presentation itself, but I guarantee there'll probably be a blog, or if not a blog, that dev stream will go into more information, just like it did with the roadmap one. So I mean, we'll have to see. I think that week is going to be a very informational week. Maybe also, like I said, they'll drop Cosmic Cube and an OLT alongside that week, just to kind of keep the hype going, right? There's going to be a lot of people hyped about that presentation, so they got to do their best to capitalize on that, right? So that's what I'm looking for out of that specifically. Just to double back, obviously, OLTs, we need to know when they're coming and what's happening with them, right? They keep talking about tuning or bug fixing. Where is that at? And I think a little bit has probably been like they're trying to buy time until E3. Because what I think is they've been trying to build off of the hype. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of the times they've been super quiet. It's been immediately followed by like a big reveal. So I think a lot of the time, we will probably see something happen with OLTs and Cosmic Qs specifically after this. Like I said, probably the week of. Patrol mode in particular, I think patrol mode, you definitely need to show off some of the feature set for that, right? We don't really know a lot of what's coming with the patrol mode. We have an idea based on like what Phil has like kind of talked about. And I know he said he wants to do like some information on like what patrol mode is coming with and what patrol mode is coming with later, right? So I think definitely showing off a little bit of patrol mode in that presents and then going into a blog, the next day or the day after, kind of talking about like where patrol mode is now on day one, where it's going to be, in a few months from then is probably a good way to do that. One of the big things is like release dates for like the next few things, right? Release dates for patrol mode, release dates for War for Wakanda, right? Everyone's kind of speculating that it's August for War for Wakanda. I'm tentatively more on board with that than I thought I would be. I originally was thinking September, but now I probably am on board with August. I don't think it's July. I think patrol mode is going to be the July thing, and then August for War for Wakanda. And I think, honestly, if you come out swinging with some good information and not just kind of like, just a lot of hype and no substance, I think players will be generally okay, getting some information, right? With them taking the next few weeks off of, dev streams, it seems like a lot of the information they would have otherwise would be, is going to be used for an E3 presentation, right? So I think they just need to come out swinging, right? Have a bunch of blogs lined up, have that dev stream, ready to go with kind of ideas, questions, things that are happening, right? And hopefully that week is a really good week for the game, right? Players of all accounts, right? Casual players, hardcore players, players who are looking into the game, everyone has their eyes on this Black Panther War for Wakanda expansion. And if they do it right and they do it well, then you have some momentum there, right? If you don't do it, well, then you're looking at a whole other ball game that I don't think anyone wants to look at it as, So honestly, I'm tentatively excited for what June 13th could mean for Marvel's Avengers. They got their work cut out for them. They got some things that, hopefully are in the works and we'll see some good information. And if they do, well, we'll come back in 2 weeks' time and we're going to have some fun, right? But with that being said, let's talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy game. So years ago, the Guardians of the Galaxy game was rumored to be in development, right? And basically, we haven't heard anything until like 2 weeks ago, where Jeff Grubb was basically like, "Yeah, it's a thing," right? And now there's a little more momentum picking up with this game, right? So here's what I want to see out of Guardians of the Galaxy at the reveal, right? There's no doubt in my mind, Eidos is having the world premiere. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's just call it as it is, right? For me, for this Guardians game to really work the way it needs to work, they got to learn from the mistakes of Marvel's Avengers, right? I personally love live service games. I like the idea of a game evolving and growing. But with Guardians of the Galaxy, there's two problems with that, right? There's players who just don't want live service anymore. Players nowadays associate live service with multiple games who have struggled and with some who have failed, right? Avengers has notoriously struggled, and they assume live service will automatically mean struggle. So I definitely think they need to not do live service with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think, honestly, for as many problems as Outriders had, I think Outriders gave you a game in a box, and then maybe you'll get an expansion, right? Just give us a full, complete game, one start to finish, and then move from there, right? If the game does really well, then look at expansions, right? And I think, honestly, if you start with the premise of this is not a live service, this is a fully complete game that you're getting, more in line with what gamers expect when it comes to some of these games, I think you're already off to a better start than what Avengers had, right? Learn from the mistakes of Avengers, right? Learn from the shortcomings of Avengers, right? If you're not doing a live service, then don't worry about costumes and microtransactions and anything like that, right? Focus on a really core, complete game that offers players a great experience, that offers players the ability to be their favorite superheroes, and just allow a great game to be made, right? There's someone that was in the Reddit comments of the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, and he's very adamant that this is going to be a single-player Star-Lord game. I'm not sure about that. I really don't know. For me, the Guardians of the Galaxy really work as a core unit, not just as one single character. So whether that's going to be multiple missions with different characters, or you can freely switch between each character, similar to what Gotham Knights is, whichever works for me, just give me the ability to play some of my favorite Guardians character. With that being said, I hope also the game gets a little weird with it, right? I hope the game is funky, it's fresh, it's different than an Avengers experience. I do want them to coexist within the same universe, though, right? I want them to be able to kind of, ideally pull a Guardians character into Avengers if need be for a cutscene, or kind of like a space outpost kind of thing, right? Let there be cohesion between the two titles and allow that kind of thing to breathe between them, right? Maybe that would allow these games to kind of, just evolve naturally, and kind of that cooperation between them is good, kind of interconnectivity, right? The MCU has done really well based on interconnectivity between their titles, right? So kind of allow yourself that freedom to kind of, pull a character here, pull a character there, like work together in order to build this universe that allows these characters to grow and evolve together instead of separate. Personally, that's what I would like. In terms of the core gameplay, it just give me something that feels good, Everyone talks about the combat from Avengers. You don't necessarily need to kind of, replicate that, but just make sure that it's not a very simple game. There's a skill ceiling, there's a skill floor, and just allow players to have fun with, the characters and their abilities, right? Multiple abilities, even if you want to give like a skill tree. I don't know if I would say gear. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I want gear in the classic sense that gear has stats and different gear pieces do different things and different stat pieces. I would much rather just see like different weapon types, or maybe different armor, and like a very basic idea of gear. Don't go super in depth like this is like a crazy RPG kind of thing. Maybe just keep it a little more basic, and just allow players, their skill to get through the game, I guess. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm going to get obliterated for that point. I just don't want to see like a super heavy gear game, and worry about trying to grind for the best pieces or whatever. You know what I mean? I just much rather see kind of like, oh, there's like this sword and that sword. There's this gun and that gun, and there's like different guns for different enemies or something like that. Like make it very basic, but make it like, still a little bit of depth to it. That's what I would like to see out of it. Honestly, the Guardians game is something I'm super excited for. I'm super pumped for kind of the idea of these two games to coexist in the same universe, for the idea of like maybe we can pull a Guardians character into Avengers, pull an Avengers character into Guardians in an expansion maybe, or maybe in the base game. Like I hope there's a little bit of like cross collaboration between the two titles, because I think that one of the greatest things about Marvel is the ability for any character to show up anywhere else, right? You see it in the MCU, you see it in the comics, you see it in the cartoons. Let's make it happen in the games, right? Let's do that. And honestly, when you have a game that hasn't done too hot, and you have a potential for a game to do really well, I hope they've learned from the experience of Marvel's Avengers, and I hope they're able to kind of take this and able to kind of like translate it over and be like, here's what Avengers did really well, here's what it didn't do so well, and here's a lot of the feedback Avengers has gotten. Now let's take this into our pipeline and rework it, right? I don't know if this game is going to be significantly different than what it could have been a year ago, before COVID. But I think definitely the time that they've had, and potentially the time that they've seen sort of the commentary around Avengers, I hope they've taken all that in and really just tried to like avoid a lot of those pitfalls that Avengers has made, right? For as much as I love Avengers, there has been kind of some pitfalls, some stumbles, some potholes that they've hit. And I hope Guardians does their best to kind of avoid that whole thing altogether, right? Don't do live service, make a complete game. Don't worry about microtransactions, and just deliver on a solid, fun experience that allows yourself to be a little funky, a little different. You have a very grounded, realist sense in Avengers. Why not try and pull that away a little bit and expand the universe, much like Guardians did for the MCU? Now, with that being said, guys, this is kind of my thoughts and my predictions. Obviously, June 13th, I will be streaming it. I'll be right here on the channel. If you guys want to hang out that day, I'll be here. We'll talk. Maybe we'll do some call-ins. We'll just hang out just like we usually do. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you guys next time here on the channel. Enjoy. Later.